And this is the 411. I'm Sherman Chow.
And I'm Lynn Cannon. Today, the Texas border, the focus for lawmakers from both parties. We just heard from Texas Senator Ted Cruz.
And regardless of your party, Republican or Democrat, you should look at what's going on here and say enough is enough. This must stop.
Cruz joining other Republicans in Mission, Texas today as congressional Democrats visited Carrizo Springs. The Border Patrol says they are encountering 5,000 migrants a day, which includes more than 500 unaccompanied children. Our live team coverage starts with Adam Bennett with a look at today's visit. And Adam, Texan lawmakers are taking the lead on this trip, aren't they?
That's right, Lynn. You know, the number of migrants, including unaccompanied children, crossing keeps rising. And these lawmakers said they wanted to get a look at the situation firsthand. So overnight, a group of nearly 20 Senate Republicans joined Border Patrol for their overnight shift along the Rio Grande. Senator Ted Cruz and others say smugglers were actually shining high-powered flashlights and taunting lawmakers from across the river. The group saw dozens of migrants being processed on the Texas side. They say they were mostly women and children from Honduras and Guatemala.
And it seems like the guiding principle of the Biden administration is to reverse all of the Trump administration policies. But the problem is they don't have any plan to substitute in its place.
This afternoon, those Senate Republicans toured an overcrowded temporary processing facility in Donna. Democrat Henry Cuellar released some images from inside a few days ago, but no media has been allowed in. And also this afternoon, several Democrats toured an Office of Refugee Resettlement facility in Carrizo Springs. That's where unaccompanied minors go once they leave Border Patrol detention centers like that one in Donna. Congressman Joaquin Castro led that group. He says he and his colleagues are looking for solutions on how to improve the immigration system.
President Biden inherited a situation where the previous administration had sought to dismantle the infrastructure for processing asylum seekers and settling asylum seekers in the United States.
And Congressman Castro says conditions are better here than at the Border Patrol facilities, but he says those kids should still be moved quickly to family sponsors while they wait for their asylum hearings. The congressman also noted that many adults are still being turned back and sent to Mexico. He says that's because of a CDC order during the pandemic that tries to prevent the spread of COVID in those holding facilities. Back to you.
Downtown this afternoon, thank you. Our Anastasia Bolton is live at the border.
She has been following the visit. She's been there all week long. And Anastasia, has anything surprised you so far with this visit?
You know, I think if people are paying attention to any sort of coverage, being that local or national, it's very much partisan politics. And it's not just my observation, it's an observation of the Border Patrol agent who is a union representative here, who we've just spoken with. Here on the banks of the Rio Grande, the congressional delegation that was led by Senators Cruz and Cornyn was all Republican. And they had the narrative, or they spoke about that the blame for the situation is squarely on the Biden administration. And the CBP union spokesperson, who's been in this area for at least 20 years, says, you know, if people just stopped playing politics with the situation, really, his words, that there is a solution here. There has to be a solution here. But seeing just a Republican group may not necessarily lead to answers or solutions right away. Again, his words and his perception based on the fact that he's worked in this area and has worked the facilities, has worked the border, and has seen delegations like this before.
A lot of voices. Thank you, Anastasia. 17,000 migrant children now in U.S. custody, and you've heard history repeats itself. Well, here are the photos. On our left, a 2014 picture taken inside a crowded Border Patrol processing facility. On the right, a photo taken this month inside a similar facility. Melissa Correa joining us live to offer some insight about this.
Hey there, Sherman. Yeah, both sets of those photos were taken in the Rio Grande Valley. The images shared by U.S. Congressman Henry Cuellar. The U.S. rushed to respond to a humanitarian crisis of all of those children at the border in 2014. Nearly 6 years later, what's changed?
The reasons I release those photos, somebody's got to speak for those folks in those, difficult conditions, especially kids.
Henry Cuellar represents South Texas in Washington, D.C. These photos he just shared from inside a temporary processing facility in Donna, Texas, are going viral.
I found out that in the Donna facility, there's some young girls there that have been kept over 20 days. And as you know, Border Patrol is supposed to keep them only for 72 hours. I asked Health and Human Services, what is happening? They said, we just don't have the space.
The federal government didn't have space in 2014 either, when thousands of children from Central and South America created a processing backlog for Border Patrol agents. Photos shared by Cuellar in 2014 show how processing stations were not designed for long-term detention.
If you remember in 2014, after those photos were published, all of a sudden they started moving on this.
In 2014, the federal government raced to pop up this central processing station. That facility is now getting renovated. So in 2021, another temporary processing facility is holding a new crowd.
And I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican, we got to address this issue.
Nearly 6 years have passed. The faces have changed. The cramped conditions have not.
Immigration is a very emotional issue. That's why it's been so hard to pass immigration reform in Washington, D.C., because everybody comes in and with different lenses and they see it very differently.
And yet in photos, it all looks so similar.
It's sometimes difficult for the press to get access into those federal facilities. We're at the mercy of the Department of Homeland Security and Border Patrol agents who are clearly dealing with a humanitarian crisis. So Congressman Cuellar sharing these images really does help the world understand what's happening right now at America's southern border. And Sherman, it's exactly why Congressman Cuellar says he's going to continue to share images as soon as he gets them.
We've heard of citizen journalists. Maybe we're getting congressional journalists now. Thank you, Melissa. Coming up at 5 o'clock, we'll have another live report from the border. You can track more of our coverage on KHOU.com and the KHOU 11 app.
Now